On October 4, 2025, NASA's Perseverance rover looked up from the Martian surface and captured something no one anticipated, a clear image of 3I/ATLS, the interstellar object that's defied every natural explanation so far. What the image revealed sent shockwaves through the scientific community. A compact, impossibly resilient object moving with mathematical precision, untouched by solar storms, and reflecting light in ways that suggested engineered surfaces. If you're still watching, subscribe now. You crave more than answers. You seek what lies beyond. Subscribe now and be part of the few who never stop searching. Its trajectory perfectly aligned with the solar system's plane, its structure unwavering, and its brightness unflinching in conditions that would rip apart ordinary comets. And then came the data: metallic spectral signatures, strange polarization, and echoes of the same materials found in Martian soil. None of it made sense, unless 3I/ATLS wasn't natural. This moment, the first close-up of an interstellar object taken from another planet, might be far more than a scientific milestone. It could mark the first direct image of alien technology. As 3I/ATLS moves away from the Sun, its behavior continues to challenge what we thought we knew about space, time, and the objects traveling between stars. Whether it's a relic from a lost civilization, a probe sent long ago, or something entirely new, its presence forces us to ask what else is out there, and have we already been noticed? For now, all we know is this: what Perseverance saw wasn't just another rock. It might be evidence we've never been alone. On October 4, 2025, something unprecedented happened. Perseverance, the most advanced rover humanity has ever placed on another world, turned its camera to the Martian sky and captured something no one expected to see. It wasn't a planet, it wasn't a satellite, it wasn't any of the known celestial bodies charted with precision by decades of planetary science. It was 3I/ATLS, an interstellar object, caught mid-transit, above Mars. And it didn't look like a comet. The image was clear, not a streak, not a blur, but a defined shape, moving with an unnatural smoothness across the sky. It looked wrong, not because of what was there, but because of what wasn't. No irregular dust trail, no erratic glare from outgassing, no fragmentation halo, just a sharp, consistent brightness, and an outline that didn't belong. This was the first close-range image of an interstellar object ever taken from the surface of another planet, and it raised far more questions than it answered. Data from the orbiters confirmed the trajectory: tight, precise, unusually planar. It aligned almost perfectly with the ecliptic, the plane of Earth's solar system. That alignment wasn't expected. It wasn't typical. Most interstellar objects that pass through our system come in at steep, irregular angles. Not this one. This one came in clean, aligned, coordinated. Its velocity confirmed what had already been suspected. It wasn't bound to the Sun. It was moving too fast, too straight, with a hyperbolic trajectory indicating a definite origin from outside the solar system. But it didn't behave like something on a one-way journey. Its orbit was stable, its brightness remained constant, and most notably, it withstood solar activity that should have torn it apart. Solar storms battered it. The Sun erupted in flares that disrupted communication networks on Earth. Dust storms whipped across Mars, but 3I/ATLS remained unchanged. Not only did it survive, it maintained structural integrity and consistent brightness. That doesn't happen. Not with comets, not with asteroids, not with anything natural. And then came the spectral data. Hubble and James Webb locked onto it. High-resolution infrared and spectroscopic readings were collected. What came back wasn't a typical chemical profile. There were no expected icy components, no carbon-based volatiles consistent with Oort cloud objects. Instead, there were signatures of complex materials, reflective surfaces, high polarization, and spectral indicators of metallic layering. Negative polarization, specifically. It bent light away from itself in structured ways, not chaotic like dust, not diffuse like rock, but controlled, like something engineered to deflect radiation or camouflage itself against stellar glare. That's when the artificial origin theories went from fringe speculation to serious consideration. Because the brightness didn't flare, it dimmed. That alone sent ripples through every observatory team. Solar storms normally ignite a comet's tail, making it more luminous. But 3I/ATLS grew dimmer, as though shielding itself. A passive shield. A thermal regulation system, unknown. But the result was undeniable, and it wasn't just light or heat. The chemical analysis from the combined Earth and Mars data revealed something stranger. Compounds detected in the object's surface closely resembled those found in Martian soil, silicates, iron oxides, and trace minerals native to the red planet's regolith. That shouldn't be possible. No known process flings material from Mars into deep space at speeds sufficient to reach interstellar velocity, and even if it did, it wouldn't return. Certainly not on a calculated path back toward the inner solar system. Unless 3I/ATLS didn't just pass through Mars's neighborhood, unless it originated from there. The implications are staggering. Either it collected Martian dust during a pass millions of years ago, or it was built, or fragmented from something that once existed in or near the Martian system. Some began connecting it to another mystery: the wow signal, the timing, the trajectory, the region of origin. The similarities were not perfect, but close enough to force a re-evaluation. Some speculated this was the same origin point, the same angle of approach. Not coincidence, correlation. It was starting to look like a pattern, and patterns aren't accidents. If this object had been launched, sent, or abandoned, its materials, motion, and behavior all suggested purpose. That purpose, unknown. But the resilience to solar events, the structured reflectivity, and the unusual orbital path, aligned with the growing theory that 3I/ATLS might not be a comet at all. It might be a relic, a probe, a fragment of ancient technology, still operational, still functional enough to control its rotation and navigate with a stability that defies natural objects. And as it continued to move beyond Mars, it did not wobble, it did not tumble. Its rotation was stable, clean, mechanical. Not just survival, but persistence. That was the detail that broke through the noise for many researchers. This object wasn't just enduring the environment, it was operating through it, unchanged, undeterred, purposeful. Even the possibility of Martian chemical matches added a disturbing wrinkle. If it had been built nearby, if it was a remnant of a Martian past, or worse, of something that once visited Mars, then we weren't just looking at an interstellar object, we were looking at evidence of interstellar interaction, possibly ancient, possibly ongoing. The scientific community is now split. Some urge restraint, calling for more data, more time, and more caution in labeling the object artificial. Others believe the case has already passed the threshold of doubt. Regardless, 3I/ATLS is rewriting the way we view these visitors, because it's not alone anymore. It's not just a statistical anomaly, it's a candidate for the first confirmed interstellar artifact observed in our solar system, an object that may have been sent, or may have been left behind, and its structure may tell a story older than Earth itself. That's what's at stake. This is no longer about speculation. It's about identification, about understanding whether 3I/ATLS is the tip of something far larger, something buried in the stars, in the dust, in the long-forgotten transit lanes between worlds. It's about asking the questions no one wanted to take seriously. Have we just seen our first interstellar probe? Have we just photographed something not of this Earth from another planet? And most importantly, what else is out there? Because if 3I/ATLS is real, and it is, then we've only just begun to uncover the evidence. There could be others, already here, already watching, or waiting. The silence of space no longer looks empty, it looks deliberate. And that's why every signal matters now. Every object that strays off the path, every anomaly that resists categorization. Because what we thought was random may be intentional, what we thought was noise may be a signal, and what we thought was a comet may be something far older, far stranger, and far more important than anyone expected. This isn't just about astronomy, it's about our place in the universe. Don't miss what comes next. Subscribe, follow, stay updated, because 3I/ATLS may not be the last object of its kind, but it was the first to look back. For decades we've stared into the dark, waiting for the stars to blink first. Now one just did. And it wasn't a star at all. It was a cold, silent traveler. An object that crossed from the interstellar void into our solar system, made no sound, offered no greeting, but left a signature too perfect to be ignored. 3I/ATLS has passed by Earth's neighborhood, not just as a visitor, but as a problem. One that challenges every rule, every model, every assumption we've made about what belongs here, and what doesn't. Because the closer we look, the more it resists classification. From the moment the Perseverance rover captured that image, October 4, 2025, everything changed. Not because of how it looked, but because of what it represented. That one image, taken from the red soil of Mars, gave us the first direct evidence of something that shouldn't exist. Not there, not like that. A foreign body, a rogue interstellar object, hovering above the Martian skyline. Its outline was sharp, its brightness was controlled. There were no tails, no dust sprays, no chaotic flickering from gas eruptions like every other comet. This one was still, constant, confident, and that's what unnerved everyone. The closer you look at 3I/ATLS, the clearer it becomes. This isn't a comet in distress. This is an object in control. It didn't just survive solar storms, it outperformed everything around it. Its brightness dipped when it should have spiked. Its structure held steady, while others would have crumbled. Radiation, no visible reaction. Plasma, no change in trajectory. Its path down to the 10th decimal stayed locked, stable, almost like it was anticipating the chaos and had already adapted. Nature doesn't prepare like that. Machines do. The orbital alignment, too precise, perfectly synced with the plane of the solar system. That's not where random interstellar objects tend to show up. But it's exactly where you'd place an object designed to be observed by planets with satellites and telescopes in a predictable arc. That's the first clue. Then came the spectral fingerprints. Webb and Hubble locked onto 3I/ATLS as it passed behind Mars. Multiple wavelengths were measured, and what came back wasn't a chemical fingerprint, typical of icy body. There were no signs of water ice clusters, no ammonia, no carbon monoxide at expected ratios. Instead, what they found was polarization, negative polarization, intense and structured. It bent light in ways that aren't natural, in ways that suggest reflective, possibly layered materials, in ways that suggest metal, and not just metal, metallic bonding, with spectral slopes that matched only one category of known material. Engineered composites. That's clue number 2. Then came the third, and it's the hardest to ignore. The compounds detected by Perseverance's remote sensors as it captured the object above Mars included silicates and iron oxides. Common elements, sure, but with a twist. The proportions matched those found in Martian surface samples. In other words, what was floating above Mars had Martian chemistry on its surface. Let that settle. This object didn't just pass by the planet, it either came from it, or had been near it before. Now we're into territory no one wants to acknowledge publicly, because there are only a few possibilities. When an interstellar object contains the same soil chemistry as Mars, one, it somehow originated from Mars itself, launched, ejected, or fragmented by a force we can't identify and sustained a velocity that carried it outside the solar system and back in again. 2. It was constructed from materials harvested from Mars or similar terrestrial planets, suggesting technology and intention. Or 3. It's a fragment, a relic, something ancient that's moved across systems, accumulating compounds from multiple worlds, a kind of cosmic witness to planetary histories. Any of those options break the current model, and all of them point to one conclusion. This object wasn't an accident. This object was placed, or it was sent, or it was left behind, and we just happened to be looking when it crossed paths with us again. Some are calling it an artifact, others won't go that far. They call it a non-conforming interstellar anomaly. Whatever the label, the message is the same. This is not natural. And then there's the timing. It doesn't take a conspiracy theorist to notice the pattern. The object arrived during peak observational readiness. The most powerful space telescopes in history were aligned. Mars rovers were operating. Earth's electromagnetic footprint has never been louder. We've become a beacon, broadcasting ourselves into space every second. And suddenly, this appears. An object with precision orbital mechanics, a surface resistant to radiation, a chemical profile that suggests planetary material, and light-scattering properties that mimic intentional design. That's not coincidence. That's contact without communication. That's a handshake through silence. And it might not even be the first. We've seen interstellar visitors before. Oumuamua in 2017, Tua/Borisov in 2019. But they passed quickly. One was too fast and strange to understand. The other too icy and familiar to raise suspicion. 3I/ATLS is different. It lingered, it absorbed, it responded. And now it's fading into the outer system, slowly, like it's watching us watch it. Some say it's headed for a second approach, others say it's exiting forever, but no one can explain why it appeared the way it did, or why it looked the way it did, or why it endured the way it did. Because this wasn't just a rock flying past Mars, this was a demonstration of presence, of resilience, of engineering, and maybe of patience. We always assumed the first alien encounter would be loud, a message, a signal, a transmission across the star. But this is contact on different terms, not asking for attention, just allowing it. The technology behind 3I/ATLS, if that's what it is, isn't flashy, it's subtle, it's restrained, it's ancient in its quietness, like a civilization that mastered endurance long before we learned how to broadcast. And now we're left with the aftermath. A single photo, a handful of spectral readings, dozens of contradictions, and one terrifying possibility, that this wasn't meant to be the first time we noticed, just the first time we were capable of noticing, which raises the real question no one wants to ask. What else have we missed? How many other visitors passed unnoticed before our machines could see this far? How many probes, artifacts, silent travelers slipped through the night sky without anyone looking up? This time we looked up, and something was looking back. It's not about aliens landing. It's not about greetings or invasions. It's about recognition. About being aware, for the first time, that space is not quiet, it's busy, and we're late to the conversation. 3I/ATLS may be gone soon. It may not return. It may disintegrate, or it may outlast us all. But its message has already been delivered, through its timing, through its silence, through its survival. This was not a rock. This was a statement, and the universe just became a very different place. There's no undoing it now. The data is out, the image exists, the trajectory was tracked, the light signature logged, the chemical fingerprints recorded, and the silence from official agencies. It's louder than any denial, because no one, not NASA, not ES, not any institutional authority, is rushing to explain what 3I/ATLS is. No one's offering the standard cometary model. No one's waving charts and shouting "nothing to see here." That kind of quiet usually means one thing: they don't have an answer. And when the most advanced minds in astrophysics don't have an answer, the world starts to ask the only question that mattered. Was it meant for us? It passed above Mars like it was scripted. Perseverance, perfectly placed, captured the image just as 3I/ATLS was cresting across the sky. Not a guess, not a grainy frame-by-frame artifact. A clear full-resolution capture, one object, unmistakable, not a satellite, not a lens flare, and not a mistake. What we saw is exactly what was there. An object from outside our solar system, orbiting in a way that defies randomness, maintaining brightness in a radiation environment that should have stripped it bare, carrying a spectral signature that looks less like mineral dust and more like layered metallic composites. Let's talk about that. Negative polarization. The way it scattered light backwards is not a common property in natural materials. It's something we see in engineered surfaces, materials designed to redirect or absorb light in specific ways, usually for thermal management, sometimes for stealth, but never, not once, in an unprocessed, unrefined celestial body. And yet 3I/ATLS exhibited it in every visible and infrared band. That alone would be enough to raise alarms. But combined with the chemical traces, silicate, iron oxides and spectral spikes in high-density carbon clusters, this object didn't just resemble technology, it behaved like it. A comet doesn't regulate its energy. A comet doesn't stabilize its brightness during peak solar activity. And a comet doesn't leave behind the optical fingerprint of a surface designed for durability. But a probe might. A shell, a casing, a remnant, something that was built to last, not for decades, but for millennia. That's the idea now taking hold behind the scenes, that 3I/ATLS may be ancient, and not just ancient by human standards, ancient by interstellar standards. A fragment of something that left its origin system long before life first appeared on Earth. That crossed interstellar distances, survived cosmic radiation, gravitational shearing, solar flares, and still functions, still emits, still rotates cleanly, still tracks. That's what makes it more than a mystery. That's what makes it a message. Not one meant to be decoded with radio signals or binary pulses, but with presence, with timing, with observation. We weren't supposed to receive a signal, we were supposed to notice, and that's exactly what happened. The alignment of Mars, the placement of the rover, the readiness of James Webb and Hubble, our increasing ability to analyze light and structure at this scale, it all culminated in a single moment of awareness. We saw something we weren't supposed to understand 5 years ago, but now, we're ready to start asking, who built it? Why was it here? And is it the first? Those are no longer fringe questions. Not when every data point points away from randomness. Its orbit was precise. Its entry angle, aligned with the solar ecliptic, was not only rare, but strategic. That's where the planets are. That's where the telescopes are. That's where we are. Its behavior during solar activity, non-reactive, controlled. Its chemical composition, foreign, familiar, mixed. Every variable, every observation, points to an object that is not drifting without purpose. It's traversing space with persistence. And now, it's moving on. Not destroyed, not damaged, not falling apart, like every other comet that's dared to pass this close to the sun. It's just continuing. Like it's completed its task. Or maybe it's waiting for us. What do we do with this? Do we write it off? Do we bury the images, obscure the reports, call it dust and rock and glare? Or do we accept that the universe might be active, that our solar system isn't just a backwater at the edge of a galaxy, but part of something much older, much broader, much watched? Because here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. If this object was artificial, it changes everything. It means we've been observed. It means probes are real. It means we're not the only species to ask the question, are we alone? And more importantly, it means we're not the first to answer it. 3I/ATLS isn't talking, but it doesn't need to. Its structure, its survival, and its silence all say the same thing. You're not alone. You never were. We'll keep watching the skies, because this was just one object, one pass, one encounter. There will be more, and when they come, we'll be ready. If you want the real updates, the hard data, the sharp questions, the facts the headlines miss, subscribe now. Because we just photographed a traveler from beyond the star, and next time, it might not be passing through.